Hey everyone, this is Friedel Courage Raven. I'm here with my recap and review of Animal Kingdom Season number 5, Episode number 13, which is the Season 5 finale. It's titled Launch, and I have to say that this was quite possibly one of the best episodes in the Animal Kingdom series yet. I really liked how high intensity it was. We also got certain character moments that I want to talk about, and then that ending. Like that ending, I'm already looking forward to season number 6. I hope it comes sooner because we have to wait a while for season number 5 to come out because of everything that's happening around the world. So, launch. It basically, the title of this episode can relate to a lot of things. Maybe it relates to launching the Cody men into the next chapter of their life, and also for Janine in the past. But anyway, the episode opens up with Janine. She's breaking into the same house. We already saw this house in the previous season. And yeah, this is the same house that the Cody men are already staying in the present. So at first I thought that, you know what, maybe season number five will actually show Janine buying that house or stealing it somehow. But no, I guess we'll have to wait until season number 6 or something for her to get this house. So she breaks in and she's just going through all of the rooms. She's in the master bedroom and she's testing out the cosmetics on the dressing table, and she then lies on the bed because you know that this is her dream house. This is the house that she wants. So we cut to Darren. He's in the bar and he ended up inviting Blaze over. I think the young kid's name is Blaze, right? So apparently, because the Cody men have to do this heist, apparently Blaze and his crew and need to play a role. And yeah, Darren is like, you know what? I need you there at 2:30 sharp. Don't be late. Set 2 alarms and all of that stuff because yeah, what Blaze and his crew has to do, it's important. So then we cut to Craig, and he's working out. He's doing push-ups. Frankie comes in, and Frankie's like, you know what, you need this tea. And Craig is like, I ain't drinking this tea because it's disgusting. So yeah, Frankie is worried about Craig because Craig is trying to hold off on doing substances, and Frankie wants him to detox. And Craig is like, you know what, I don't want none of that. I'm okay. I can handle this. And Frankie is like, are you sure? Because yeah, in the morning we're going to pull off a very big job. And Craig is like, don't worry about me, Frankie. Just chill. So we get back to the flashback, and apparently Jake doesn't want to do this job that Pamela ended up telling Smurf about, and yeah, Janine doesn't understand why Jake doesn't want to do it because Janine is like, this is a very big job, we can do this twice, and Jake is like, you know what, it has only been a month since Max died, and us pulling bigger job, it's going to attract a whole lot of attention, and other crazy people might come after us, and Janine is like, you know what, let them. And talking about Pam, I'm kind of disappointed that we didn't get to see a lot of Pam in the present timeline because during the promotional campaign, I really thought that Pam was going to play a much bigger role. Maybe she'll play a bigger role in season number 6. Who knows? Because the Cody men are still working with Lark, right? But yeah, I was expecting a lot more from Pam in the present timeline. Anyway, before Jake and Janine can continue talking further, the police car comes over, and yeah, Janine is like, "What's up, Officer Jerry?" So it turns out that Officer Jerry picked up Andrew and Julia because they got caught. Pocket lifting, they were trying pickpocketing, they were trying to steal a wallet from a guy in a shop and they got caught. And yes, you could clearly tell that Smurf isn't happy about it because Smurf doesn't like anyone getting caught. And she pays off Jerry, and she's like, have a good day. And Jerry's like, yeah, have a good day. And Smurf, as I told you guys, she isn't happy, and she is going to have a talk with her kids. Before that happens, we get to see Andrew coming into Joshua's room, and he has Joshua's outfit for the job already and all folded up, and he places the outfit on the bed. And before he walks out, he notices Julia's picture that Joshua put up. And yeah, Joshua comes out of the bathroom, and Andrew's like, when did you put this up? And Joshua's like, just recently. I would have put one up earlier, but I think that Smurf wouldn't have liked that. She would have taken that down. Because, yeah, from the flashbacks, we are getting to see that Smurf never necessarily liked Julia, because as far as Smurf is concerned, she doesn't like anyone she can't control, and she couldn't control Julia from a very, very young age because Julia wasn't about the life that Smurf wanted Andrew and her to live. So we get to see Janine have a talk with her kids, and it turns out that the one who got caught was Julia, and Smurf isn't happy about it. And yeah, she yells at Julia. She's clearly disappointed, and Jake tries to calm down the situation. Jake is like, Janine, these are kids. You need to calm down. And why the heck would you even make your kids pickpocket just for fun? And Janine is like, I have to have them practice, you know. And this is where Jake he doesn't understand what kind of mom Janine is trying to be, because Jake is like, you know what, Janine, you and I, we do this stuff because we made our choices along the way, but we can give our kids a better future. Why do you want to put this criminal lifestyle on your kids? Don't you want anything, something better for them? And Janine doesn't like Jake talking to her in such a manner. And Janine is like, you know what, Jake, I don't have time to listen to you and take parenting skills from you. If you want to be a parent, if you want to raise children, why don't you go back to Cheryl and have kids of your own? And this is where she just tells Jake to go away. And I think Jake never comes back, as far as I can tell or remember. So we get to see everyone getting ready for the job, and yeah, Frankie is there. And at first, I was kind of worried about Frankie because I thought she was going to die, but I'm glad she didn't, and I'm also glad that she was actually part of the job, even though it was a very small part. And Darren is like, "Are you okay?" And Frankie's, let's do this." So the first part of the job, there were so many parts of the job. There were so many. A lot of things could have happened, could have turned wrong at a whole lot of points. But yeah, the first step is to steal this truck from a paper company, and it turns out that Joshua was able to shut down the cameras online, and I'm like, ooh, Joshua, you're a tech genius, I guess. So they steal the truck, and inside the truck there's Craig, Andrew, and Joshua, while Frankie drives the truck to the pier where they have to steal Wyatt's money from. And then we get a flashback, and yeah, Janine is like, Julia, why did you get caught? What's up? And Julia is like, Mom, it's not fun anymore. I don't like pickpocketing. And Janine turns to Andrew and she's like, do you feel the same way? And Andrew doesn't say anything because, yeah, Andrew is okay with it. Andrew is okay with anything his mom wants him to do. And this is where Janine is like, you know what? I had plans to go to Disneyland. And Julia's like, wait, we were going to go to Disneyland? And Janine is like, yeah, we could have if you had ended up stealing a wallet. Maybe you could have found a credit card, then we could have gone to Disneyland, but you got caught. And yeah, Julia is upset that her mom is upset with her, and this is where Janine is like, baby girl, come here. She puts Julia on her lap. She sits her down and she's like, Julia, you know what? I understand that mistakes happen. Just make sure that you don't do that again. So it's kind of a veiled threat in a way. She's also scaring Julia as while being kind of supportive. And this is where Janina's like, you know what? To brighten up the mood, why don't we go for a little vacation? And of course, the kids are excited, even though even though Janine can't take them to Disneyland yet. So while Frankie is driving the boys to the paper or did she drive them or not, I'm not really sure, or did they stay in the parking lot and then someone else drove them? I'm not. I think they all stayed in the parking lot, and Frankie ended up blocking the truck, and then she ended up following the truck while the official company driver drove the truck to the pier. I think that's what happened. I'm not really sure because there was a whole lot of things that were happening. But yeah, anyway, while as the truck is being driven to the pier, Darren ends up taking this cleaning service boat, and he's disguised as a cleaner. So he's going to go by sea to the pier towards the loading docks. So Craig, Andrew, and Joshua, they end up kidnapping, per se, not kidnapping, capturing the official truck driver. And because Joshua is dressed up as a truck driver, this is where Joshua ends up driving the truck further into the pier towards the container where Wyatt is keeping them all of the money. So yeah, they find the container, and apparently they have to go through one container to get to the other container. So they have to cut through walls of two containers to get to the safe. So while Joshua is keeping watch, Craig and Andrew are tasked with getting to the safe. And yeah, they drill through the other container, and this is where they get to see that, yeah, that container has a safe. And I'm like, okay, cool, you guys are doing the job. However, why didn't you charge the battery? Like, the charge symbol, it's close to dying. And I'm like, what if the charge went out? What then? So yeah, Craig and Andrew have to work faster. They are running out of time. And at first I was like, wait, so Craig is off substances. Is he going to act up or something? But thankfully he didn't. So it turns out Darren wanted Blaze and his crew in order to distract the harbor police. And yeah, I was like, you know what? When the police crossed Darren's post the first time, I'm like, how the heck is Darren going to keep the police off of him? But yeah, it turns out that the harbor patrol people were going to be taken care of by Blaze and their crew. So the harbor patrol people end up going after Blaze while Darren goes to the drop point where he has to pick up Andrew and Joshua and Craig after they have stolen all of the money. So while Craig and Andrew are busy inside the containers, a forklift guy passes by the container and he notices smoke coming out from one of them. And before he can, and he starts to reverse towards the container. And this is where Joshua is like, I can't have him do that. So Joshua ends up ramming the truck into the forklift guy, and there's this commotion. And the guy is like, "Didn't you see me there? I was reversing." And Joshua is like, "You know what? I was reversing too, man. This is my first day on the job. I'm sorry. I'm not necessarily sure what's happening." And because they're arguing loudly, this is where Andrew is like, "Craig, we are running out of time. You have to hurry. If you can't get to the safe, we can run right now." And Craig is like, "Give me just give me a few seconds." And yeah, Craig is able to open up the safe. There's a whole lot of money, like a whole lot of money in there. They get the bags and they start putting the cash into the bags. And Wyatt sees all of this commotion and he's like, "Hey, why are you even here?" And Joshua is like, "Man, this is my first day. I don't know what I'm doing." And Wyatt is like, "Why the heck did you drive the truck all the way in here?" And again, Joshua is like, I don't know. And yeah, Wyatt is like, something's up. So he makes his way towards the container with his gun out. And this is where Andrew ends up opening up the container door and he knocks Wyatt to the ground, and the gun, he drops the gun as well. And Wyatt also gets injured. I think the back of his head starts to bleed, even though we don't see it when he falls down. So Andrew and Craig run away with all of the cash, and Craig is like, "What about Joshua?" Craig is like, "We'll pick him up from the other side. Just run right now." And I was actually worried about Joshua. I'm like, "You left your nephew back there with people who have guns?" But yeah, for by some miracle, Joshua is able to run away from Wyatt and the forklift guy. Joshua has a gun, if I remember correctly, but he doesn't use it, which I'm like, you know what, Joshua? Yeah, good thinking. Just run as fast as you can away from here. And yeah, Joshua just runs while Wyatt is trying to shoot him, while also being careful of not to shoot other people. So Craig and Andrew meet up with Darren at the drop-off pickup point, and Darren is like, "Where the heck is Joshua?" Andrew is like, Andrew and Craig are like, "He's taking fire. We have to pick him up from the other side." So Darren drives the boat over there, and yeah, Joshua is able to run away from Wyatt by jumping off the pier. And the good thing is that Wyatt's gun runs out of bullets, so that's why he isn't able to shoot at the Cody men as Darren just drives the boat away. However, because of all of the gunshots, the harbor police notice that something is up, so they ignore Blaze and his crew and they start going after Darren. And Darren, he's the captain of the little boat, and Darren is like, "Hold on, even though this boat isn't as fast as I would have liked, we have to be smart about this." And he tries to lose the harbor patrol people. He goes under the pier and then he turns the boat around and starts charging towards the police officers. And yeah, they give way, they move out of the side, and Darren is able to keep the boat running. And then Darren is like, "You know what, it's going to be very difficult to get these guys off her back, so plan B. So plan B is actually that the Cody men are going to drop all of the money into the sea, and then they're going to jump off the boat with oxygen tanks on, of course. And they're going to jump off the boat and they're going to ensure that the boat keeps on running. So that's exactly what they do. So while the Cody men are under the sea, the Little Mermaid song. But yeah, as they're under the sea, the harbor police continues to follow the cleaning boat. And yeah, the Cody men ended up stealing a whole lot of money and no injuries or nothing, which I'm like, you know what, this was the final episode. I was like, maybe someone will die, but no, the Cody men are okay. So back at the flashback, Janine ends up taking the kids to the house. Apparently, the owners of the house are away for the weekend, and Janine is like, you know what, that's a perfect time for me to bring the kids here. So she tells them that this is a very beautiful house. They can select any room they want to sleep in and just have a good time looking around. It also has a pool. It also has a TV. It has an Atari gaming console. And while Andrea is very interested in watching TV and playing the games and all of that stuff, Julia is a very, very perceptive kid. She knows that something is wrong. She can tell when something is wrong. So yeah, Julia is like, you know what, mom? I know that this is someone else's house. Do you know these people? And Janine is like, of course I know these people. How else would I know that they won't be here for the weekend? And yeah, Julia isn't having it, but Janine is like, you know what, Julia, I am tired of you. Like she doesn't say that exactly, but she just wants Julia to get with the program and do what she wants her to do. But that's not Julia. That's not who she is. So Smurf is like, don't you want to go and have a swim in the pool? And Julia is like, I didn't bring my bathing suit, but Janine brought it. So Janine ends up giving Julia her bathing suit, her little child bathing suit, and she's like, go have fun. So yeah, you can tell that Janine is trying to find ways to distract Julia. So they're at the house, and apparently they ended up stealing like $1.2 million, which is a whole lot of money. So yeah, Frankie gets her cut, and Frankie is like, you know what, it's time for me to go. And before she goes, she ends up telling the Cody men that, you know what, good job, you did good, and that Smurf would be proud of them. And I'm like, okay, if you say so. I'm not really sure if Smurf would have allowed them to do such a job, but yeah, she's dead. So anyway, this is where after Frankie leaves, this is where Darren is like, okay, I have to go to the bar. We're opening up tomorrow, so I have to set things up. And Andrea's like, not so fast. We just did a job. We have to share dinner because it's a family tradition. And Darren is like, okay, so you are going to cook us something? And Andrea's like, ha ha ha, very funny. You go and pick up food. And Darren is like, okay, I'll do that. So Frankie and Craig are saying goodbye to each other, and Craig is like, do you really have to leave? And Frankie's like, yeah, I have to. And I'm like, you know what? Good thinking, Frankie. Good thinking. You got a whole lot of money. Get out of here, start a new life. Now, I am a bit disappointed because I guess this was episode number 3 or 4. I could be wrong. That there was apparently this guy called Veldick who was trying to find Frankie, and she was in danger. Maybe she owed him a whole lot of money. So I'm kind of disappointed that we never got to see Veldick, but yeah, it is what it is. So I guess Frankie won't be coming back for season number 6. Who knows? So yeah, Darren isn't going to be the one to pick up food, and Greg is like, why? And Darren's like, you know what, I'm busy, I have to go. And he ends up telling Greg to pick up food, some egg rolls, some broccoli, soup, and a whole lot of food basically. So it turns out that Darren goes to his bar and he ends up paying Tommy, and Tommy's surprised. Tommy's like, wait, what's up? And Darren is like, I'm giving you all of this money because I appreciate you still hanging around even though things have been tough these past few months. So I'm also making you manager. And this is where he ends up telling Tommy that he's going to start laundering money from the bar, and he needs Tommy's help. Apparently Tommy has to put an order of booze for $30,000 every 2 months, and Tommy's like, I'll do it. And at first I was like I'm sure that I'm not the only one in the fandom who thought that Tommy was like another undercover cop. And I was like, you know what? Is this where Tommy is going to arrest Darren? But no, I guess Tommy is okay with the program. He wants to continue helping Darren, which okay. And talking about Darren, I'm just glad that Adrian didn't show up because considering it was the final episode, I was like, what if Adrian just shows up with bags and he ends up staying outside the Cody house to meet up with Darren or at the bar? But yeah, Adrian didn't come back, so I guess we'll have to wait for Adrian to come back in season number 6 if that even happens, or maybe Darren will go off after him. Who knows? Maybe Tommy and Darren might be a thing. Please don't. So Tonya, I guess her name is Tonya. So Tonya comes over to Craig's house, and Craig is like, hey, why are you here? And Tonya is like, I'm here for Ren's stuff. She wants her stuff back. And Craig is like, you have to tell me where she is. She took my child away. And Tonya is like, okay, I'll tell you. She's at her cousin's, and apparently Craig doesn't like Ren's cousins. And Craig is like, you know what, Tonya, I appreciate you being a friend to Ren, but if you want your stuff back, tell Ren to come herself, answer Craig's phone calls or something, answer his texts, or else he's going to throw all of her stuff away. And yeah, Tonia's like, okay, I'll do that, I guess. So it turns out that Pope ended up going with Joshua to meet up with Pete, and I was wondering when the writers were going to handle the storyline after we learned in the previous episode that Pete actually lied and he never flushed away the coke, which I'm like, we all knew that Pete wouldn't flush a whole lot of coke, like it was $1 million worth of coke. So this is where Pete is like, oh, so Andrew is the one who's the leader of the Cody men, huh? He actually directs all of that to Joshua because he's like, Joshua, I thought that you were the leader, but you're just a glorified driver, huh? But Andrew is like, I'm here. We have to talk. And Pete is like, okay, come on back. So while they're in the back of the garage, this is where Andrew is like, Pete, let me reintroduce myself. I'm Andrew. I'm from the Cody family. You don't want to mess with me. And Pete, yeah, I have to applaud Pete that he doesn't like back away from Andrew, especially after Andrew gave him such an expression. And I'm like, Pete, even though you are trying to be brave, this is Andrew you're talking to. You don't know what he's going to do, and that's exactly what happened. Andrew is like, I don't appreciate your attitude, dude. So he ends up threatening Pete by basically picking up a pair of pliers, and he plunges the pair of pliers into Pete's eye and he destroys Pete's eye, which, wow, there's blood everywhere. I really liked how the episode ended up showcasing that scene, like the blood oozing from Pete's eye, him yelling in pain and all of that stuff. And Joshua is just looking at his uncle being all crazy, and I'm like, Joshua, even though you are a little psychopath murderer yourself, Andrew is in a league of his own. It will. I'm not really sure if Joshua can be as crazy as Andrew, though. Like, that's something that Janine really worked on turning him into ever since he was a kid. So, anyway, Joshua ends up seeing his uncle being crazy, and yeah, I guess he's taking notes. And before they leave, Andrew is like, you know what, Pete? We need our cut of the coke by the end of this week, or I'm coming back and I'm going to start taking little tiny pieces of your body until there's nothing left. Which I'm like, you know what, Andrew, that's a very good way to intimidate someone, because during the beginning of the season, without Smurf being the leader and holding the family together, you can see the Cody men having a whole lot of disagreements, yelling at each other, having fist fights, and that's a weakness that Pete ended up exploiting. Pete understood that the Cody men weren't on the same page, so he was like, you know what, I can lie to them about flushing away the substance that they stole, and they won't come after me because they aren't a pack anymore. But no, Andrew brought everyone back, and Andrew is like, yeah, I'm the protector, I'm the fighter, I'm the brawler, I'm the one who does the dirty work. So he's like basically telling the outside world that I'm still here and you need to respect the Cody family even though Smurf is no more. So yeah, as I said, Andrew is like, Pete, I'm going to come back. So I guess even though they stole a whole lot of money already, they're going to get a whole lot of more money from Pete. So Craig and Darren are already in the house. Craig brought food, a whole lot of food, and as these two are talking, this is where Andrew comes in, and yeah, they're like, "Where were you?" And Pope and Andrew is like, "I was talking to Pete," and Craig is like, "I thought that we were going to do this together," and Andrew is like, "You know what? I handled it because yeah, Andrew is the one who does the dirty stuff. He's the one who keeps the family together. He's the one who protects them." And Andrew ends up washing his bloody arms in the kitchen sink, and he's like, "You know what? Get ready for dinner." So we get a flashback, and Julia can't sleep. She comes out and she sees Janine sitting beside the pool, and and Janine is like, "Julia, what's up, little baby girl?" And Julia is like, "I can't sleep. I'm fearful that the people who own this house might come back." And Julia is like, "Oh, Janine, not Janine. Oh, the names." Smurf. You know what Smurf is like? Julia, you don't have to worry about that, little girl. Just go to sleep. And she's like, you know what? Why don't you drink this? She actually gives her little kid alcohol. And Julia's like, okay, I guess I'll drink it. And she starts drinking. And I'm like, oh no. Oh no. So it turns out, as far as I can tell, I guess in order to, because Smurf understands that she can't control Julia, she's like, you know what? Might as well dull her senses and stop her from standing in front of me. So that's, I guess, how she pushed her towards substance abuse and all of that stuff. So this is where she asks Andrew about what he thinks about the house, and Andrew is like, it's way too big for us. And Smurf is like, you know what? That's perfect because you guys are going to have a little brother. So yeah, Smurf is pregnant, it turns out, and of course Jake's the father. And the way that she ends up saying that they're going to have a little brother, I guess, yeah, Smurf is like, you know what, I need a whole army of men, little boys, that I can control easier, because he's like, if I get a daughter and she ends up being like Julia, it's going to be trouble. So she sits Andrew on her lap and she's like, Andrew, you're going to protect your little brother, huh? The same way you protected me. You're going to help me take care of him. And she's basically directing all of this towards Andrew. She wants nothing to do with Julia. And again, as I said, Julia's a smart kid, and Julia's like, is the daddy Jake? And Smurf is like, why does it matter, little girl, Julia? And yeah, Julia ends up, I guess she ends up emptying the entire glass, and I'm like, oh no, poor Julia. Because we know what happens to her in the present timeline. Like, her life wasn't good. And again, as far as Smurf is concerned, handling boys is easier for her. Maybe she would have been more open with having another daughter if Julia listened to her when she was young, but yeah, it is what it is. And also, I remember because I said that Smurf doesn't like anyone she can't control. Remember when Darren and Smurf had their started having their little disagreements as Darren started to come out of the closet in front of Smurf? And that's something that Darren was very proud of. I guess it was season number 2. Yeah, I guess it was season number 2, or maybe it was season number 3. I'm not sure. I guess it was season, yeah, 2. 2. Uh, Oh, I'm confused. Anyway, whatever that season 2, yeah, whatever the season 1 was, Darren was very proud that Smurf can't control her, and she was annoyed by control him anymore, and she was annoyed by him, and yeah, Darren was proud of that because Darren was coming into his own and accepting of his sexuality and all of that stuff. So anyway, we cut to the Cody men. They're having dinner. They're sitting around the table, and yeah, Andrea is just happy to have the family all together like old times. And this is where Darren is like, and Joshua has something to tell you guys. So Joshua, tell them. And Joshua is like, okay, thank you for putting me on the spot like that. And this is where Joshua tells his uncles about the plan that he has about how they could sell Smurfs apartments, because it takes way too much time to launder money through them. And I'm like, you know what? And that they should buy businesses. And I'm like, Joshua, I understand where you're coming from, but one of the reasons that Smurf had those apartments was because she was creating a network. She would give those apartments to people in need, and those people in need would kind of look out for her in a manner. So even though Joshua is trying to aim high, he's kind of ignoring to create a name for himself or create a network at the ground level, which Smurf did. Like, Smurf helped a whole lot of people in need so that they could be indebted to her for the rest of their lives and all of that stuff. And Joshua isn't necessarily doing that. But yeah, Joshua is like, we could open businesses so that we can start laundering money faster. And Craig is like, you know what? I'm okay with it because we won't have to wait for lousy allowances no more. And even Andrew is like, you know what? If you guys are okay with it, let's do this. And yeah, the Cody men are happy now. But their happiness is going to be short-lived come season number 6, because we get this final shot where there's this construction site and there's a whole lot of police cars around them. There's lights and everything, and this is where we get to see that the construction workers ended up finding a dead body buried in the ground because they were constructing this new these new houses for people, again with the entire thing about Oceanside changing and gentrification and all of that stuff. So yeah, we get to see these detectives, and it turns out that the dead body had an ID, a passport, and it turns out that it's Catherine, all the way from season number 1, who Andrew ended up killing. And I was like, yeah, I was a bit confused to see Catherine in the recap. I was like, why the heck are they showing Catherine in the recap for this episode? But this is why, I guess. And yeah, they're like, she's from Oceanside. And yeah, these detectives are going to come after the Cody men again in season number 6. Just when things started to get better for them and everyone was on the same page, they're back in trouble. So yeah, and as far as the police finding Catherine's passport, I'm like, Andrew, why the heck did you not burn her papers? Why didn't you burn her papers? Why would you bury a dead body with the papers on her? Like, what? But yeah, I will be doing a written review of this for the Geekieri. The link to that will be down in the comment section below. I really enjoyed this episode, the season 5 finale. Even though I think that certain episodes were a bit slow this season, I think that the finale ended with a bang. But yeah, let me know what you thought down in the comment section below. Until next time, stay happy, stay safe, stay blessed. See you guys later.